Noelle Azzarello, producer of Brave New Classics. Thank you for joining us for tonight's production of Undertow and the Starter by Eulalie Spence. Eulalie Spence was an incredibly influential member of the Harlem Renaissance, yet only a handful of her plays received publication during her lifetime, and of that handful, only a few still exist today. Her plays have gotten a few performances in the last 100 years, but they certainly deserve a spotlight to be shown on them. She wrote of the communities that she lived in Harlem. She was an immigrant from the West Indies and was an incredibly educated and highly intelligent woman. And she was very firm in her convictions of the kind of plays that she wanted to write, and she was not afraid to fight any critics or any other members of her community that disagreed with her approach to theater. I hope you enjoy tonight's performance.
I'm off, Ma.
So I see.
Say, Ma, gee whiz. Ain't Dad been home for supper yet?
No.
That's funny. He ain't never stayed out before, has he?
Not since I married him. Except
what, Ma?
Except once before you was born.
And the old man ain't tried it since, huh? Reckon you fixed him, didn't you, Ma?
I ain't trained you half as well as I trained your dad. I should have made you stay in school for one thing.
You had more sense, Ma. If you'd have bossed me like you bossed Dad, I'd have run away long for now.
There ain't no danger of Dan running off. He ain't got the nerve. Besides, nobody want him, no way.
Now don't fool yourself, Ma. An easy simp like Dad be snapped up soon enough if he ever got it into his head that he could do such a thing.
Dan's a fool, but he knows which side his bread is buttered on.
Holy smoke.
What's eating you?
Nothing.
Never mind lying, what's on your mind?
Nothing, Ma, nothing.
Well,
I just thought of something, that's all. Say, Ma, I gotta have $5 tonight. I need them bad.
Oh, it don't need no harm to need them. There's plenty of things that I was wanted and I ain't never got.
What the devil do you think I can get it from if I don't ask you?
You might work occasionally. Dan ain't been home a day these 25 years.
And you just done calling him a fool, now ain't you? The guys in my crowd, they don't do no work, see? We live by our brains.
Not by exercising them, Lord knows.
How come you think we hit the number every week? Brain work.
Well, if you hit so often, why you always coming to me about money for?
If that ain't like a woman, Ma, it takes money to make money.
Charlie, you's got to cut out this gambling. Now, I ain't gonna give you no more money.
Ma, you think I'm Dad, don't you? Well, I ain't. I wish to God I knew what you had all over me. No free man would ever stood all your nagging all these years.
Well, them that can't stand for my ways knows what they can do.
Wouldn't surprise me none if Dad has walked off.
What makes you think so?
Reckon you'd like to know, wouldn't you?
Tain't likely what you could say is worth $5 to hear.
What I seen wouldn't have been worth nothing last week, but since Dad ain't showed up for supper, it's worth a damn sight more. You never guessed what I seen him doing one night over on Lenox Avenue.
Well, you might as well say it. Now, you can have that 5, but let me tell you that you'd be the loser later if you lied to me.
Mom, what I got to lie for? Come on, hand it over.
I ain't never refused to pay for what I gets.
Oh, all right. Here go. Me and that walker was strolling up Lenox Avenue one night last week, about 6:30. Right ahead of me, I seen Dad. He was walking long, slow as usual, with his head bent, not seeing nobody. All of a sudden, a woman coming down the avenue went up to him and stops him. He looked up kind of dazed like and stared at her like he seen a ghost. She took him by his arms and laughed. You know, by that time, we come alongside and I got a good look at her. She weren't young and she weren't old, but she looked, well, I just don't know how she did look. All laughing and happy and tears in her eyes. I didn't look at her much for staring at Dad. He looked all shaken up and scared like, not scared like neither, for I seen him smile after a minute. You know, he ain't never smiled like that before. Not I can remember. But, you know, Nat said, reckon your dad done met up with an old gal of his. But I only laughed, you know, it struck me kind of funny that Dad meeting up with an old flame of his. I meant to ask Dad about her, but it went clean out my head.
Was she tall?
Kinda.
Pretty?
Any taller than you?
Light?
So, lighter than you?
Pretty?
Maybe. Wasn't no chicken, but she was something good to look at. Ma, ain't no use in moping. Dad ain't the first husband to take up with his girlfriend. You know, it's funny though. Him never doing it before. Well, so long, Ma. See you later.
Sorry I'm late, Hattie. I ain't had no supper yet. I reckon I'll get something they needed in the kitchen.
Reckon you'll hang that coat and hat up in the kitchen where theirs belong.
Sure. Don't know how I come to forget.
Keep out of that kitchen.
But I'm hungry. I ain't had nothing to eat.
Where you been? That you ain't had nothing to eat. You can't say, can you?
I went to see a friend of mine.
6:30 ain't calling hours. Lesson you's been asked to dine.
It was important I had to go.
Had to go where? You ain't said where you's been. And you ain't got no intention of saying, has you? You keep out of there. You keep out of my kitchen. Now, I kept your supper till 8 o'clock, but you didn't come and I throwed it out.
I'll fix something else. I don't want much.
You ain't going in my kitchen messing with anything. You's hiding something, Dan Peters. And I was gonna find it out for long. You ain't gonna throw no dust in my eyes no second time, not if I knows it.
All right. I don't want no fuss, Hattie. I'll go out and get something.
You can fix the furnace before you go. I's got enough to do running a lodging house without fixing fires day and night.
Charlie was home. You could have asked Charlie to do it.
Charlie don't ever know about fixing no furnace. It's your job when you's home, and I ain't got no reason to wish it on Charlie.
I'll fix it when I gets back. I'm hungry now, and I was going to get something to eat.
What you want?
I declare, Miss Peters, you sure does look put out. Anything the matter?
Well, did you come here to tell me that?
Course not, Miss Peters. It's pretty cold upstairs. I suppose the fire gone as usual.
Yes.
It's getting colder, I reckon. It's warmer down here. As I always tell Mr. Wilkes, give me a parlor floor in the basement anytime. If there's ever any heat, you're sure to get it. Cause I ain't complaining, Miss Peters. See, Mr. Peters got home pretty late tonight, didn't he? That's a man with regular habits. I often tell Mr. Wilkes that I wish to goodness he was a home-loving man like Mr. Peters. Well, reckon I'll be going up again and seeing as you all have company.
Company?
There's a lady to see her. She's sitting upstairs in the parlor.
Who let her in?
Mr. Wilkes did. He seen her on the stoop. She was just gonna ring the bell when Mr. Wilkes come up with his key. She asked to see Miss Peters, and he told her to sit in the parlor. If there's ever a stupid man, it sure is my husband. Instead of going down and telling you or hollering to you or sending her on down, he come upstairs and tell me to go down and tell you. He ought to send her down the basement in the first place.
Send it down, will you? Some fine day. I expect we'll be cleaned out if y'all's all gonna let strangers in the house that way.
Thought you might want to see her in the parlor. I reckon she ain't no thief, not judging from the looks.
Huh. What she look like?
She's tall, but not too tall.
Light.
Lighter than you and me.
Pretty.
Well, you knows her all right. She ain't never been here before is all I knows, but you knows her from the way you described her. Well, so long. I'll send her down. Whew. Certainly is cold. Whew. Mm.
It's been a long time, Hattie. I don't wonder you surprised, Hattie. I know you's waiting to hear what brought me. It's a long story, Hattie.
You can start at the end.
At the end?
At the end. What you come for? You's come to get something? Is it Dan?
Oh, the same old Hattie. The years ain't changed you none.
And the years ain't changed you none.
Yes, I reckon they has, Hattie. I suffered a plenty.
And you think that you's the only one?
Oh, no. I can see you's not been over happy, Hattie. And I knows that Dan ain't been happy.
Well, what reason you got to bring up all this talk about suffering? You been seeing Dan again, ain't you?
Yes. I met him just by accident one night last week.
And you've been seeing him since?
Yes, every night. I've been going down to meet him around 6 o'clock, and I's ride home with him on the L.
And tonight you had dinner with him?
No, tonight I couldn't go to meet him. I was called away on business. I ain't seen him tonight.
Did he know you was coming here?
No.
Why didn't you tell him you was coming?
He wouldn't have let me come.
Well, say what you's come here for and go. It ain't easy sitting here listening to you talking about Dan.
It's almost driving him crazy. And you said you loved him.
Where'd you go to? Where you been all these years?
South Virginia, where I come from.
Huh?
If I'd have known you was going to be unkind to him, I'd have never let him go. Dan ain't known a day's happiness since I went away.
He told you that?
Yes. Now, I can forgive you for taking him away from me and the way you done it. But it ain't easy forgiving you for making him suffer.
And that's what you's come here to tell me.
Dan's dying here, right under your eyes, and you don't see it. He's dying for kindness. He's dying from hard work. He's dying from the want of love. I could always read him like a book. He won't talk against you, Hattie, but I can see it all the way he looks. And the way he looks at me.
Go on.
He's shabby. All of them. Hat and shoes and coat. If he had one suit for every 5 that your son has, he'd be pretty well dressed.
You forget. Charlie is Dan's son as well as mine.
And you set him against his dad. He sides with you every time, don't he?
Did you read that in the way that Dan looked at you?
If you had brought Charlie up different, you might have held on to Dan. Instead of that, you's brought him up to look down on him.
Is you through?
You don't need Dan, and your son don't need him. Well, since you ain't got no use for him, I's gonna take him from you, Hattie. Now you knows why I's come.
Funny how thoughtful you's got since I last seen you. You come into my house 20 years ago as a friend, and you took Dan when I hadn't been married to him a year. You didn't give no announcement then about what you was going to do. You just took him and me. expecting to be the mother of his God. But now that you's got more stylish and more ladylike in your ways, you come to tell me very politely that you was going to take him again. Is it my blessing you's waiting for? You don't need no permission.
You don't understand. You never did understand.
Maybe not, but some things is hard to understand.
Course Dan and me could go off together without your permission. You knows that well enough. It's being done every day, but we don't want to go like that.
You mean Dan don't want to go that way?
You's wrong, Hattie. Dan ain't thinking of nothing of nobody but me. He's for quitting and never saying a word to you, just going off, me and him together. But I ain't gonna go like that. This time, it's gotta be different.
Different how?
Hattie, I want you to free Dan. You owes it to him. He ain't never been free since he knows you. Will you free him?
Free him how?
Give him a divorce.
A divorce? To marry you? Huh?
Yes! It ain't like you loved him, Hattie. If you loved him, I couldn't ask you. But you only holds on to him through spite. You hates him, maybe. You treats him like you does.
He knows I can't keep him if he wants to go. Recognize I knows it too. Well, if he wants to go, he can go.
Oh, thank God. I didn't think you'd do it, Hattie.
You could have spared yourself the trouble coming here and just gone off. It would have been more like you.
But how? You'd have to know about the divorce, Hattie.
Divorce? I ain't saying nothing about getting no divorce.
But you, I thought you, what you mean, Hattie?
You didn't need no divorce the first time, did you?
That was different.
I don't see it.
Well, it was. It's gotta be a divorce this time.
Well, I sees Dan's morals has improved some since you went away.
It ain't Dan what's holding out for divorce. It's me.
Then it's your morals that's been improving. Well, they could stand improving a plenty. You's wasting your time and mine and Dan's about letting him go. He could have gone all these years. I wasn't holding him back. He'd gone too if he'd known where to find you. Now, I knowed if he ever found you, he'd leave me. Well, he didn't find you till now. But long as I got breath to breathe, I ain't gonna say yes about no divorce. Now, if he can get one without me, let him get it. You hear me? Now, if you's through, you better get out of here. I ain't responsible for what I says from now on.
Hattie, for God, you was hard.
I was soft enough when you first stepped on me. If I was hard now, it is your fault.
Hattie, I ain't told you the real reason why I wants that divorce.
No? Well, I ain't interested none.
Still, I want you to hear. It's something that I ain't told Dan. Come in, Dan. I hope you don't mind my coming to see Hattie. I just had to come.
It won't do no good.
Maybe not, but I had to come.
I'm sorry, Hattie.
Hattie knows everything, Dan. I told her.
Clem, what was you saying when I come on in? I heard
I tell you like this.
Can't go back now, Clem. Since we's in the middle, we gotta get through it somehow.
I didn't mean to beg. Listen, I had to.
You don't have to beg, but you can get out of here.
If it was only me, but it ain't. It's for my Lucy, Dan's child. Dan's child. I didn't tell you, Hattie, and I didn't tell Dan. What would have been the use? She's a woman now and good and pretty. She thinks her dad died when she was a baby, and she thinks I'm a good woman. She's proud of me.
She thinks you's a good woman. And that's why you expect me to give Dan a divorce.
Yes, you see, don't you?
Yes, I see, God. If that ain't funny, she thinks that you's a good woman. She thinks you's a good woman. Oh my God.
Hattie,
Tell me more about this new relation of Dan's.
I've worked hard to get her the chances I didn't have. She's been to school, she's got an education, and now she's going to get married to a fine fella who'll be able to take care of her. Now you see that I can't just go off with Dan. It's got to be proper. A divorce and all. You see, don't you, Hattie?
Oh, yeah, mother and daughter double wedding.
And you do it, Hattie? God bless you, Hattie.
How come you's passing on blessings? You knows a lot, don't you, about blessings, huh? Wonder if you knows as much about curses.
Now, Hattie.
You don't know nothing about curses, does you? Well, you's cursed, Clem Jackson. Cursed. You always been cursed since the day you cast your eyes on Dan.
Hattie, you ain't got no call to go on like that.
Dan was cursed when he set his eyes on you, and I was cursed when I took you for a friend.
I'm going, Hattie. I see you ain't gonna give in.
Oh, what's your hurry? You better hear what I was going to say now. Curses. Yes, we've all been cursed, Clem. My Charlie's cursed and your Lucy. Too bad.
You call my Lucy's name long
Too bad. Now wonder how she'll feel when she hears what a good woman you is.
What? What? You wouldn't. You wouldn't.
Wouldn't? Sure. I'll find her. Now, if it takes the rest of my life, I will find her. Now, it's too good to keep. How she'll stand when she knows her mom was a prostitute and her dad was a whore.
Damn you, Hattie! Don't you say no more.
I'll tell her all leaving out nothing.
You couldn't, Hattie. You couldn't, Hattie. Come on.
How she played me false, and when I trusted her, and how she lied to me, how she ruined my life and come back to take the leaving once more.
Don't say no more, Hattie.
You shut my mouth, wouldn't you? How?
Let's go, Clem. Come on, let's go.
Go on. Is I keeping you? Take your streetwalker back where she come from. Now you can give Lucy my regards. Tell her that her friend's gonna call on her real soon. An old friend of her mom's.
You shut your mouth, Hattie. Promise for God Almighty.
How's you thinking of shut my mouth, Dan Peters?
You'll keep your way from Lucy. You'll promise not to say nothing about Clem.
Never! And you can't make me. I'll tell her. Oh, I'll tell her about this good woman, this thief, this dirty-minded whore that just slept with you.
Let go! Let go, for God's sake! Dan! Dan, you come near killing her.
I'd done it too if you hadn't been there.
Oh, she hit her head in awful crack.
Had his head hardened most. Come on, Clem. We can't stay here now. She'll be coming to for long and raising the roof.
Oh, Dan, there's blood coming out of the corner of her mouth.
Oh, she'll be wagging it again before you notice it.
Oh, Dan, I wish you hadn't have done it. It won't do no good.
I couldn't stand it no longer. I clean lost my head when she called you. What she did.
Yes, I know. Oh, poor Danny boy. I don't know how you stood it all these years.
I was always thinking of you, Clem. You shouldn't have left me behind. You ought to have told me where to find you. You should have told me about Lucy.
Yes, I see that now. But you belong to Hattie, and I thought...
I never belonged to Hattie. Come on, let's go, Clem. What's wrong?
I just gotta think of Lucy.
Lucy?
Yes, Lucy. She's your child, Dan, and she don't know about us.
And me? What about me and you? Clem. Clem.
You mustn't. Then there's Hattie. You just gotta think of Hattie. Dan, we better try bringing her too. Get some water, Dan.
I won't touch her.
It ain't human leaving her like that. Help me lift her, Dan. She'll catch her death of cold on that floor. Like ice. Why, Dan, her fingers are all stiff. And, oh, Dan, I feel her pulse, Dan. Dan, she ain't dead.
Dead?
Dan, what do we do? What do we do?
You'll go back to Lucy. She needs you.
You needs me more, Dan.
No, you can't help none. I don't stand no chance, reckon. I owes it to Lucy to send you back to her. I ain't never had the chance to do nothing for her but this.
I can't go, Dan. Don't make me.
We's got to think about Lucy. We sprung each other bad luck. Clem Hattie was right.
But I loved you, Dan. And you loved me.
I ain't never loved nobody else.
What'll they do to you, Dan? They won't kill you. Will they, Dan?
Close not, honey. I reckon I get 20 or 15, maybe 10.
10 years?
I'll spend them all dreaming about you, Clem. And Lucy. No, you mustn't grieve, honey. No. Go now. Go, for God's sake. I hear somebody coming down. I'm sorry, Hattie. Oh, God, I didn't mean to do it. Holy gee! What'd you know about that? Some looker. Hello. Woman gives birth to 4 healthy sons. Ooh, gee. A male quartet. Oh. Father overjoyed like hell he is. Gee. Suppose something like that was to happen to me. Nah, reckon them things only happen to foreigners.
Whew. Any wonder we can't find no place to sit. Look at him sprawling on that bench, will ya? God is hot.
Say, move up, will you? You ain't got no lease on that bench.
Reserved.
Reserved. Can you beat that for a nerve, Miss Clark?
I should say not. Take your arms off that bench, you loafing nigga.
Now, see here, Angel Face, and you two great nuts. I know you're both dying for a real live hug from an honest-to-goodness He-Man. Well, come on and get it. I won't charge you nothing.
Can you beat it?
I like your gall.
Oh, they all do. You're not the only one.
A woman can't walk through this park no more without being insulted.
Oh, come on, Miss Henry. I wouldn't sit there now if he was to scrub the whole bench.
Me neither.
Honey, say, don't you know, honey, oh, I love you so. You's cute, you sweet, you's mighty fine, sweeter than the watermelon hanging on the vine.
Brazen.
Percy.
Say, TJ, did you hear them old hens stare?
No, I couldn't see nothing but you then, honey.
Well, they sure did stare. Reckon they was jealous, all right.
No doubt about it.
Say, you don't hate yourself, do you?
No. Now, 'tain't no use hating the person you have to live with.
Oh, meaning who?
Meaning me. Thomas Jefferson Keller at your service.
Oh.
Say, what's the idea of moving down there?
You get along pretty well by yourself, don't you?
Sure. But I gets along better when you're around.
Oh. Oh, 'twas hell of a day, TJ.
Ooh, it sure was. 90 in the shade. To see the way people shop in all this hot weather, I don't see how they do it. I have to stand there by the cage till I'm ready to drop and talk about dumbbells. Why, those birds can't read. They stand by an elevator, walk down, and expect to go up in the other way around. In the fool questions they ask, gee, to think of all my education being wasted on those people.
Poor TJ, you've had too much school, and that's what's the matter with you.
2 terms, and don't you forget it. Funny, me standing there in a Palm Beach suit with brass buttons and a hat to match with more brass buttons. Sometimes a man gets to thinking, here I am, a starter. A starter. Just one step better than the man who runs the cage. Gee, that's a hell of a job.
It sure is, TJ. I'm glad you's a starter.
Yeah, but there's something about that name that just don't hit me right. Starter. Starter. It seems to get over into a man's life somehow. Starter.
Gee, that's funny.
Is it? Well, I don't just see the point, that's all.
Why, TJ, you knows I's the someone, don't you? Well, I ain't never told you about my place because it's so lie down. Italians and Jews and colored all together, it's a dump. Well, I'm what they calls a finisher. A finisher on dresses? See, that's what I meant. You being a starter and me a finisher.
Holy gee, that's a good one. Georgia, we'd make a good team, we would.
Oh, quit your kidding.
No kidding. You know, kid, I've been thinking. Say, why don't we get married, huh?
I don't know, except you never mentioned it before.
Well, I'm mentioning it now, see? Think it over, kid. Well, what's your answer?
Has you got any money, TJ?
Money? Say, have a heart. That's a fine question.
For a starter.
Say, are you making fun of me?
Of course not, TJ. Of course not.
Well, you're taking your time about answering, ain't you?
much you got saved, TJ?
Ain't that a little personal, honey?
I don't think so, because if you don't feel like saying, I can get up.
I have $55. Not so bad for a man.
A starter. You mean you ain't got more than $55 and you working steady?
And me dressing like a gentleman and paying dues in the club and 2 societies and a lodge and taking you to the theater twice a week.
Movies. And don't you forget it.
So that's how you feel about it, is it? Don't I take you to dances? Didn't we go to Coney Island last week and Cabaret Monday night? How the devil you expect me to have money?
Nobody asked you nothing about marrying. You's the one who mentioned it.
Sure, but that don't give you no right to ask about my bank account. Reckon you wouldn't want me asking about how much you got in your bank.
Well, since you's dying to find out, I'll tell you right now.
Who? Me?
Since you's dying to know, I's got $200.
Woo! Well, that ain't so much.
More than you got.
$200. Ooh, say, you know what, Georgia? That's enough money to get started on. I mean, we could get a nice room while I've got a peach of a room, and we could get new fixings, put down a deposit, you know. I could arrange all that at the store. They know me. I mean, $200 ain't so bad. Say, many a man's gotten married on less.
You ain't said nothing about your 55.
Oh, 55's all right as a starter, but it ain't nothing for a man to talk about.
And what about a ring, TJ?
A ring?
You ain't never heard about that before, has you?
Sure, but well, all right, I'll get you a ring. A beauty, too. Get me?
See here, boyfriend. I'm a regular gal, and I knows what we're special when I sees one.
Say, you don't think I'd put a Woolworth over on you? Now, how'd you get to be that way?
Reckon it's from society with them Jews and Italians. Say, those folks sure wear diamonds.
To work?
Sure.
Fake, that's all.
Fake nothing.
Well, kid, what do you say?
I don't know, TJ. I was reckoning on that $200 for rainy weather. In my business, there's plenty rainy weather. Last year, I was out of work altogether 4 months.
What? Well, how come?
Laid off, nothing doing. It's a regular thing in my line. Dull season, strikes, union dues.
But you could always find something else, couldn't you?
No, work's like every place, and then there's a time I needs my savings.
Well, how about a waitress in some nice restaurant?
Nothing doing. I ain't no hashlinger.
Oh, you mighty fussy, ain't you?
If we got married, you wouldn't mind me staying home when things got slow, would you, TJ? Gee, it would be great to be able to stay in bed mornings. You know, TJ, the thought of hitting the Chili's has driven plenty of people into matrimony before now. Gee, to lie in bed on a cold winter morning with the sleet and rain battering on the windows.
Oh, God's sake, woman.
What's the matter, TJ?
Say all this talk about cold and sleet and staying in bed, gee, it's enough to give a man cold feet.
Cold feet? Well, if you has cold feet, now's the time to say so.
It's a fine way to spoil a good night. Talking about winter mornings. Hey, look at there, honey.
Where?
Over there. Gonna be a moon tonight.
Sure enough.
So bad. And look at there, honey.
Where?
Down there. All those lights and those people in this park. We owns the whole show.
Oh, quit your kidding.
Harlem show is great. I mean, look at them lights.
Say, TJ,
What you thinking, honey?
is we engaged?
Lord, do we have to go through all that again? Keep your eyes on them lights. And
Forget it.